rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events, this is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. I got to apologize for yesterday. I was at we'll call it a personal appointment, and something that was a long time in the books, so it was one thing that I couldn't miss. And anyway, the appointment itself, or the meeting itself, got pushed back a little bit. And then, of course, it ran long, which, of course, means that, that cut into my time. I didn't get back here until I would have been halfway through my stream time. So, yeah, it wasn't intended. I wasn't intending on doing that, but it went ahead and did it. However, I will say this much. Even though I didn't announce it on social media, I did send it out through the newsletter. So if you want to get information about the show direct to your inbox, you can do so by signing up for the newsletter, which is, well, the newsletter is called The Perspective, but the best way to, or the only way to do that is to head on over to americanperspective.online. That's americanperspective.online. And if you wait about 5 seconds, okay, you wait about 5 seconds, it'll pop up. That'll be a pop-up, and you can add your email and your name, and you can join in the fun. Once, of course, I get some things going. I'm going to have some serious, there's going to be some early announcements and things of that nature, that are going to hit the newsletter first. So you got to go and get that newsletter. Once again, that's americanperspective.online. And you can put in your email address and you'll get stuff directly to it. So anyway, yes, Mark, I am on. I'm right here. Anyway, yeah. Bonnie, if you have a problem with that, you can probably send me the main box and I'll figure out how to do it. But anyway, so there you go. Polish Dog, if that's what it takes, then I'll send you discount codes. It won't be for vinyl, but I'll send you discount codes. Anyway, all right. Well, it looks like we have another birthday in the house for tonight. And so if that's the case, I am going to be singing at the end of the show, provided that I don't do what I did to Bam earlier this week, which was kind of sad. And I apologize for that. But anyway. All right. Oh gosh, there's just so much going on. I can't even tell you. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get these things kicked off. Tonight. If Kat shows up, I gotta make sure to thank her. She went and purchased a, American Perspective logoed gear. She purchased that today. So when she shows up, I got to make sure that I say thank you for that. Which, by the way, you can check that out. Go to store.americanperspective.online. Store.americanperspective.online. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and kick this off with Ms. T of Texas. Ms. T of Texas is up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hats if you're wearing one, and follow along with Ms. T of Texas. Give me just a second. I got to respond to Mark over here on the Facebook. He's like, is this live? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, and 3 Chevy, if you're not wearing a hat like mine, that's fine. You still probably should take it off. But anyway, let's go ahead and have Ms. T of Texas recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you for that wonderful rendition, Ms. T. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting the pledge in your style, and then take that file, whether it's audio or video, whatever it is, and attach it to an email address, or attach it to an email, send it to the email address fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. Man, my head's bouncing all over the place tonight. I'm just... Anyway. All right. So... oh my goodness. Yeah, Glow, don't bother standing, please. You have an excuse. You're fine. All right, tonight's headline sponsor is theflagshirt.com. I wear their shirts almost every single episode. I don't say every single one, because occasionally I do break out one of my gear. But on almost every single episode, I wear one of theflagshirt.com's men's cotton polos. I love these shirts. They are absolutely wonderful for this. And so anyway, head on over to theflagshirt.com. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up on some of the chats here. But anyway, go to theflagshirt.com and take a look at all of their styles. They've got some patriotic bestsellers going on right now. Now, it's not a sale, but they're pointing out some of the patriotic bestsellers that they've got there. You click on the Shop Now link, and you go in, and boy, take a look. There is my Declaration of Independence shirt right there in the top. In fact, it's even on sale. It's on sale for $36. $35.99. And then you can go through, you can see all these wonderful styles. They've got them for men, women. Oh, hey, look at that. We got a couple of cowboy hats that I've been known to wear that are there. Now, I am going to warn you, if you have a big head on you, both of these are probably not going to fit. At least the bright colored bars and stars probably won't, because, yeah, I had to buy a stretcher to stretch mine out. It just wasn't going to fit my head, and that's because I guess I have a big head. Anyway, the other one, the vintage one, that one fits. You've seen that one here on the program before. But go and check it out. Go to theflagshirt.com. Check out all of their wonderful styles. Hey, I even have that one, the Lincoln, too. The Abraham Lincoln one. Anyway, go and check out all their styles. Go to theflagshirt.com, and if you order $75 or more of their product, you will get free shipping. But, I know that not everybody can order $75 or more. Maybe you don't want it. Maybe you don't, maybe you don't, maybe you don't want to buy $75 worth of stuff. Maybe you can't afford it because, of course, we haven't had, inflation come down just yet. Some of the things that our wonderful President Trump is doing hasn't taken full effect as of this point. So if you want to still purchase something, I'm going to help you out. I'll help you out by providing you with a coupon code. You can go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. That's flagshirt.americanperspective.online. And you can get a coupon code that you can then copy and paste into the promo code box at checkout. And that'll get you $5 off your order. Go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. Get yourself a coupon code there. Copy and paste it into the promo box at theflagshirt.com. and get yourself $5 off your order on American Perspective. Go to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. All right. Oh, goodness. Hey, you know what? I've got some announcements coming in the very near future, and I think you guys are going to like them. They're going to be pretty awesome. To be honest with you. Oh, Mrs. Whiskey came in and went right back out. She didn't bother saying hi. Oh, well. She's busy, I'm sure. Anyway, first things first. So the Supreme Court has finally gotten some of these court cases that have been running around, like, the ones that the Democrats have been trying to block him from accessing the Department of the Treasury and trying to get him to stop birthright citizenship redefinition, so on and so forth. But this one in particular, the Supreme Court, this in the Epic Times, by the way, the Supreme Court declines to allow the Trump admin to immediately fire a watchdog official. So special counsel Hampton Dellinger argues that he may be fired only for misconduct. And he said that his termination letter cited no reason for his firing. Well, the Supreme Court has basically said, okay, we're going to put a pause on that, but only until next week. So the order, which is set to expire on February 26th, will be held in abeyance, in other words, delayed action until that date. Now, the Trump administration had argued that it had the authority to fire Dillinger, even though he was confirmed by the U.S. Senate. They asked, and this is actually Trump's fault, honestly, because they asked the Supreme Court on February 16th to allow it to fire the head of the agency that protects whistleblowers after the lower courts said it could not. Well, honestly, all this is going to do is just holding him for a couple of more days, because new administrations, as the piece points out, new administrations routinely fire government officials without providing a reason. So whatever. This is just delaying the inevitable, to be honest with you. So anyway, also good news. Kash Patel got confirmed yesterday, took his oath of office today, and is now the FBI director. And I can tell you that, these guys, the left, by these guys, I mean people like, Adam Shifty Schiff, is freaking out about this. Oh my gosh. They are just freaking completely out about this. So it's interesting, to say the least, but we'll have to see what happens here in the very near future for this. But that means that pretty much everybody who actually went through confirmation hearings so far has been confirmed. And they didn't even need to use J.D. Vance, which they did for Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth had to have the tiebreaker. But anyway, so there we go. We'll just have to see what the heck is going to happen with Kash Patel in the near future. In terms of what he's planning on doing for all of this stuff. And yeah, Adam is, as USA Abby Girl points out, US Abby Girl says, Adam is shifting in his pants. So yeah. Now the one, Matt Gaetz probably could have gotten through. But yeah, he decided to that I guess discretion was the better part of valor in terms of that. And so he decided to move on. So, there you go. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what your boss's name is. Anyway. All right. Well, we have a little bit of news that popped up out of Pennsylvania. Yeah. And okay, first of all, let's just point this out. All right. This does not necessarily mean that Pennsylvania had a problem in 2020. Okay. Pennsylvania does have a problem in terms of their elections. Okay. But let's just kind of hold off until certain things start coming on. Oh, you're asking me who's in charge of the VA? I'm not really too sure right now. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah, I could probably have an answer for you tomorrow or for tomorrow's show. But anyway, all right. The Daily Fetched had this. There are some top Pennsylvania Democrats that have been charged with election fraud. Okay. There's 3 officials from the Democrat Party in Pennsylvania that have been indicted for conspiring to unlawfully manipulate elections by illegally adding individuals to voter rolls. Oh, Mark Glow is saying that she believes it's Doug Collins. Anyway. All right. Back to this piece. So apparently the vice president of the borough of Millivborn, I hope that's right, council, his name is MD Nurul Hassan, council member MD Monsieur Ali, and former council member MD Rafkul Islam were each charged with 16 counts of election fraud for falsifying voter registrations. 3 Democrats, now all of these people are of Bangladeshi origin, used an online voter registration portal to artificially inflate voter rolls in an effort to win borough council seats during the 2021 local primary election. Okay, so yeah. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, this doesn't necessarily mean that anything happened in 2020. But I'm going to tell you that, yeah, this kind of stuff is going to keep happening until we get to a point where we are no longer allowing electronic voter registrations, requiring ID, making sure that every single year they go through and they cull the voter rolls. We got to tighten up on our elections process. And that's the key in order to do this. And yeah, the indictment, of course, highlights growing concerns about election security. Think about this. It's basically, they did it on a local level, but just imagine if enough people did it for a national election. I mean, especially in one of these swing states, it could have been it could have shift. It could shift. Anyway. Sorry, my chat is off the rails. So really quick, only because I'm seeing this going around in the chat and I happen to have some information about this. So Polish Dog is talking about Waylon Jennings, and he says that, did you know one of his kids is an artist too, Shooter Jennings? Well, just for your own information, folks, Shooter Jennings matched up with one of my favorite actors, James Woods, and they have put out a album that James wrote the lyrics for. Shooter put the music to it, and if you go to I think it's jameswoods.com or something along those lines, I'll have to look back on X just to make sure, but I think it's jameswoods.com. Hold on, I just received an email from him. Anyway, Yeah, I'm gonna have to look. But anyway, James Woods is doing a collaboration with him on it, and he has got just some fantastic music on it, I think. So anyway, so yeah, you should go and check that out if you haven't already. Looks like Polish Dog is saying, yep, that album is on my list to buy. So anyway, yeah, James Woods, I think it's jameswoods.com or something like that. You can sign up for the newsletter and they do all of that stuff. It's just perfect for it. And you know, it's the first time I think James Woods has done anything in terms of like lyrics and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty good what I've heard of it is pretty good. So, and it's stories, honestly, it's stories of Hollywood written from James Woods' perspective, you know, rather than doing like a tell-all book. He doesn't like tell-all books, but rather than writing a tell-all book, he's doing it now through the artistry of music. So there you go. James, if you're on X, I just plugged you, buddy. I did ask him about a year and a half ago if he would come on the program, and he normally doesn't do press junkets. He did say that I should reach out to him in about 6 months, and I'm sorry, but I got cold feet. I couldn't do it, for whatever reason. But anyway, maybe I'll need to do that. So, all right. Yeah. So thanks, Polish Dog. That is the right website, jameswoods.com, jameswoods.com. So that's cool. And he just pulled it up and you can check out the album there. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. About these guys up in, Pennsylvania. I mean, I wouldn't put too much stock in it. It looks like all they did was try to, you know, pad the voter rolls locally. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But again, this is just yet another article, yet another, instance where our elections have been, defrauded in some way, and they just keep coming out over and over and over. And yet the left keeps saying, oh no, we don't need election reform. We don't need to correct all of these pieces and parts that are going bad or anything else. So, yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, let's shift our direction a little bit to the main topic for this evening. First of all, I think you guys need to understand something. And this, unfortunately, this is kind of a common thing with the Western world and Western culture, and especially, I'm just going to say, especially that I've seen with Americans. Not everybody in the world thinks the same way we do. Not everybody in the world wants the same things that we do. Not everybody in the world has the same value system that we do. And yes, Virginia, there is evil in the world. And what am I talking about? Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm talking about the particular folks in the Middle East. So I don't know if anybody saw this. It probably, I mean, maybe it hit some people. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's shown up on mainstream media. I honestly, I don't know. Frankly, I don't care. I don't really pay attention to mainstream media unless to laugh at them anymore. But there was a family, a husband, a wife, and 2 babies that got taken on October 7th. And when they were taken, the wife and the 2 babies were taken elsewhere, and the husband was taken as well, and they were separated while they were in Gaza. The husband still alive, was released recently as a part of the prisoner exchange hostage negotiation deal. And when he came back, the first thing he asked was, well, are my wife and kids still alive? My wife and babies. He wasn't told by Hamas that they were dead. And just this past, I think it was just this past week, Hamas brought the babies' bodies back as a part of the ceasefire hostage deal. Now, they were supposed to bring the mother's mother's body. But after the IDF has done some forensic examinations, they have determined that the body that Hamas sent over claiming as the mother actually wasn't. Folks, these people, and I'm talking in particular the people in Hamas, all right, not necessarily attaching it to the Palestinians, although most of the civilians, and keep in mind, this family was taken by civilians. They weren't taken by Hamas, but they were taken by the civilians, the Palestinian civilians, as a part of the Gaza Strip on October 7th. The children, the baby and I think a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, was essentially, they forensic evidence indicates that they were manually killed, not like Hamas claimed, where they were killed in some sort of an airstrike. The fear is that the mother's body suffered even worse punishment and worse fate than the babies did, and that's why the body was not sent back. But I'm just going to tell you right now, these people, and I mean, even just calling them people is sort of antithetical to their beliefs. But Trump's envoy, and they're actually even questioning whether or not they're going to get the mother's remains back. Her name is Shiri Bibas, I think. And yeah, the envoy who's over there right now basically says to Hamas, release all the hostages now or total annihilation. So yeah, I mean, honestly, these people just, these animals, I'll just call them what they are. These animals, there's a certain point in a person's life where you start to realize that there are individuals in this world who cannot be reasoned with, who cannot be, because they don't have the same value system that you do. And sometimes these people can't be made to understand or at least come to a compromising position. They just cannot do it. And yeah, I'm just saying these people need to just, they just need to, in my opinion, they just need to be eliminated. Just take them off the face of the earth. This is an absolutely horrific and disgusting display, and at least as far as things are concerned here, they need to go. They just need to go. There's no negotiating with them. There's no coming to a compromise. The State Department and everybody else who has tried to come up with a two-state solution, which is what ended up being, the Gaza Strip since 2006 has been completely on its own governance. And rather than turning to themselves and saying, hey, you know, why don't we fix our stuff? They haven't bothered. From 2006 all the way up until today, they haven't bothered to like build infrastructure. They haven't bothered to like take the money and the supplies that have been sent. It's all gone to terrorist ends. These people are just flat out evil, at least in our interpretation of what's evil. These people they are not going to be assimilated into what would be considered civilized society. They're just not. And, I mean, I've said it before, there are certain areas of that part of the world that, as far as I'm concerned, just turn it into a glass factory. But anyway, so unfortunately, we don't know. One of my Whiskey Warrior P1 said that the body was supposed to be transferred today. We'll see if that person actually is the body. It was supposed to be released tonight, which is Saturday, in Israel, in exchange for it. Now, this makes no sense whatsoever. They exchange 6 hostages for 602 Palestinian prisoners. Really? Talk about a unbalanced negotiation. But Israel does that. And the reason why Israel does that is just like for us in America, we want our people back. We want our people back. And we're willing to do oftentimes whatever it takes. You know, and yeah. I just feel bad for that family, especially for that father who came out of captivity. God knows what he was forced to do or see. And he comes home and finds out that his wife and kids are gone. They're just gone. I just can't, I can't even imagine what that would be like. Thank the Lord we don't necessarily have to. But there does come a time, honestly, and this is the last little bit that I'll talk about here, but there does come a time to realize that sometimes there is no solution, that the only solution is total and utter annihilation, and that there is nothing peaceful about a certain segment of our world. Anyway, all right. So we have some more news coming out, some more positive news coming out of our government, and actually the GOP in particular is now starting to gain at least a modicum of balls. Here in Breitbart, 30 GOP senators urge the ATF to rescind regulatory gun controls implemented under Biden. Now, keep in mind, some of these have already been taken to court. Some of them are possibly in the legal system right now, as Second Amendment advocates have focused on things like this. But the reality of it is that now we actually have some senators who are starting to stand up. And they've all signed a letter, according to this. They've all signed a letter urging the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to rescind regulatory gun controls implemented during the Biden administration. The senators Wait, sorry. I got to get my, I'm not sure that's the word that they wanted to use, but anyway, they pointed to, President Donald Trump's February 7th executive order, as the impetus for the letter. Trump used the order to assess any ongoing infringements on the right to keep and bear arms. The letter from the senators revealed Thursday says, in part, under former President Joe Biden, ATF adopted numerous policies and rules that infringed upon Americans' Second Amendment protections. President Trump's executive order directs Attorney General Pam Bondi to review and develop a plan of action regarding President Biden's unlawful firearms regulations. We ask that you work with the Attorney General to quickly identify and rescind these policies. Well, that's a positive. Basically, that's a positive for that. So anyway, we'll kind of have to see where and how this goes. But notice that article mentioned Pam Bondi. Well, here in the town hall, Bondi starts clearing out the ATF. So Attorney General Pam Bondi is carrying out President Donald Trump's directive to clean house at law enforcement agencies across the federal government. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, by the way, is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Justice and is no exception to that rule. Let's see. Former ATF Chief Counsel Pamela Hicks posted on social media Thursday, earlier today, I was served official notice from the Attorney General of the United States that I was being removed from my position as Chief Counsel of ATF and my employment with the Department of Justice has been terminated. I have had the privilege of serving in the federal civil service for almost 28 years, including 23 as an attorney for the Department of Justice. Serving as ATF Chief Counsel has been the highest honor of my career, and working with the people at ATF and throughout the department has been a pleasure. I thank my colleagues for their friendship and their partnership over the years. Constitutional groups, of course, are celebrating the move and are calling for the agency to be abolished altogether. Now, I would agree with that. I would agree with that for sure. So, yeah, this should be fun to watch. Anyway, Kash Patel, of course, now he's sworn in, he's probably going to be doing the exact same thing at the FBI. Kash Patel posted on X after being confirmed, I am honored to be confirmed as the 9th director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Thank you to President Trump and Attorney General Bondi for your unwavering confidence and support. The FBI has a storied legacy from the G-men to safeguarding our nation in the wake of 9/11. The American people deserve an FBI that is transparent, accountable, and committed to justice. The politicization of our justice system has eroded public trust, but that ends today. My mission as director is clear. Let good cops be cops. Rebuild trust in the FBI. Working alongside the dedicated men and women of the Bureau and our partners, we will rebuild an FBI the American people can be proud of. So, yep, there you go. And by the way, Attorney General Pam Bondi is wasting no time also. She was on she was on a show on Friday, and well, let's just go ahead. I'll let her tell you what's going on.
I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz, and one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you. Madam Attorney General, Pam, great to spend time with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So apparently, yeah, she's got the she has the the list, the Epstein list. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to be able to necessarily release the list. You know, I don't know, but she mentioned that she has the Epstein list on her desk. She's got to get it reviewed. She's also reviewing the JFK and the MLK files, which is another thing that I don't know if we're necessarily going to learn any of that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah. Now there have been things floating around on the internet that have indicated people, individuals, especially those from Hollywood, so on and so forth. We'll have to see what it does come out with. But one person I can tell you who is likely not on that list at all is essentially Donald Trump. And the reason why I say that is because if he were on that list, believe me, they would have redacted the crap out of it and send it out to everybody. So you can be sure that Donald Trump, I'm fairly certain, is not on that list. At least not from the standpoint of going to the island. He is on the list, by the way, of flight logs, but the flight logs demonstrate that he's only gone from Florida to New York, New Jersey, and back again, and not on what was considered the Lolita Express, which went out to his island or to his home. So yeah. Anyway, and speaking of all these people getting fired, you may have heard that that there was a federal judge that put in we'll just call it a temporary stay. Well, now, and it was brought, by the way, on the auspices of the federal unions that were, let's just say, trying to keep the numbers up for their union dues and bargaining power. That's the supposed story, anyway, the allegations from that standpoint. But here in the Epic Times, the federal judge allows the Trump admin to continue layoffs of federal workers, with the exception of the one that, has been the special counsel guy. But anyway, a federal judge on February 20th declined to block for now the downsizing efforts of the Trump administration, including mass firings and buyout programs. Judge Christopher Cooper wrote in his ruling, federal district judges are duty-bound to decide legal issues based on even-handed application of law and precedent, no matter the identity of the litigants or, regardably at times, the consequences of their rulings for average people. Unions representing hundreds of thousands of federal workers had filed a lawsuit against President Trump and the heads of several government agencies, saying that they were overstepping the executive branch's authority. They alleged that the government was engaging in mass firings of newer employees still under probationary status. Cooper did say that the allegation is not without evidence. However, the court did deny the union's request to block the termination, saying that it likely lacks jurisdiction over their claims. So this guy, this judge, actually understands and is clear in terms of the constitutionality of his position being a district court judge. He does not have the power to overrule the Constitution of the United States that gives the executive power, or the executive branch power, for firing, doing whatever within the executive branch and within the president's constitutional authority. So he mentions it. He basically says right there, it lacks jurisdiction over the claim. So the claim, according to the judge, said that they must be brought before the Federal Labor Relations Authority, which handles wrongful termination and employee disputes. So at a hearing on February 18th, an attorney representing the union said that slashing the size of federal agencies would cause irreparable harm because of the resulting loss, get this, in union dues and bargaining power. Wait, the union doesn't care about the fact that these people are getting fired? I mean, not that, they shouldn't be, but it doesn't care. All it cares about is the resulting loss in union dues and bargaining power? Man, what the heck? Why are they even in court? Why are these people even in court? They need to just, this needs to be dismissed for lack of standing. The union does not have the standing in this case. Now, if it were an individual or a group of individuals from a department that got fired, then yeah, I could see where they might have standing here. But this doesn't, no. So apparently at the hearing, the judge, the plaintiffs, and the defense all agreed that the case is an employer-employee dispute, which would usually be brought before an agency like the Merit Systems Protection Board or the Federal Labor Relations Authority. So, anyway, an attorney for the plaintiff said that because the case potentially involves thousands of employees, it would be impractical to file so many individual complaints. Well, I mean, honestly, let's just be real here. They could go and file like a class action lawsuit. They could do that. But anyway, so we'll have to see what happens with this one, in terms of, because again, thankfully this district court judge who was there actually has read and does understand the, Constitution and, its authority. My chat's going nuts over here. That's my chat going nuts. And Amy, I'm sorry, I do take exception to that comment that you made to Judge Wild. It is physically impossible for anyone to multitask. Our minds, our brains are wired in a serial fashion, folks. Anyway. All right. Well, I don't know if you guys remember this guy, but like I said, man, the Republicans, the GOP, they're starting to, they are starting to grow some cojones, and this guy definitely has some cojones. This guy, and he mentioned it. He mentioned he was going to do it, and he's done it. He's done it. Here it is. Here in the Washington Times, House Republican moves to impeach federal judge who blocked Doge. Representative Eli Crane. Now, this guy is an Arizona Republican, and on Friday, he has announced that he has filed articles of impeachment against U.S. District Court Judge Paul Engelmeyer. Okay. So, yeah. So anyway, The lawmaker accused Judge Engelmeyer, or Meyer, being an activist judge for temporarily blocking Doge from accessing records at the Treasury Department. Now, again, keep in mind, Doge, while it's not a actual, like, true quote unquote department, it is a consulting public auditing functionality being utilized at the behest of the president within his constitutional power to be able to go and audit these departments that are all underneath, by the way, not one of these departments that they're going to, not one of these federal agencies that they're going to is basically, not one of them is like outside of the executive branch. So if the president basically says, hey, we're going to audit your agency, and he or she is the head of the branch, then he can tell all of these agency heads, guess what? You're getting audited, and he can bring in outside sources as needed at his or her discretion. Now, whether or not anything comes of it, that of course falls on the head of the president. He can get their report and determine whether or not he wants to do anything about it. But yeah. So anyway, Mr. Crane said in his statement, President Trump campaigned on rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal government, and the American people gave him a mandate to do so. This is obviously judicial overreach and a clear threat to, and I hate this, quit calling us a democracy, folks. We're a republic, okay? To our Republican form of government, but he said a clear threat to democracy. We're not a democracy. We never have been. We're not a pure democracy. We're not a Democrat. We're a republic, okay? And it says so right in the Constitution. We are guaranteed a Republican form of government, period. That's it. Okay. Anyway, he continued on in his statement where he says, if these partisan judges want to be politicians, they should resign and run for office. So Judge Engelmeyer's order was in response to the lawsuit that was filed by New York Attorney General Letitia James and 18 other state attorneys general, including the Arizona Attorney General, Chris Mays. And it was against the Trump administration, which, of course, you know, I've gone through this before in the past with you guys. There is no such thing in the Constitution or even in statute, as Clarence Thomas pointed out, as a universal or blanket injunction. Okay. There is no such thing. Okay. And so the reality of all of this basically is that these district court judges are far overreaching in their authority. Now, the idea of an injunction in the legal sense is to provide relief to a plaintiff when the defendant is doing something that they shouldn't be. And so the injunction should apply to just the parties in that case, and not be blanketed across the entire country. And that's what Clarence Thomas has consistently pointed out. It's like, I don't think these guys have the constitutional authority to do this. And they don't. It's not written in the Constitution that a judge, especially a lower court judge, can just throw a blanket injunction across an entire class of people. The Supreme Court has actually even had cases where they've made this kind of clear. Now, I'm talking about cases in the past, not now, and we covered that on one of my other programs or one of my other episodes. So anyway. Oh, and I always laugh too, by the way. I always laugh because when you get these leftist bureaucrats and the leftist Congress people, they all stand up and they're like, Doge is accessing public information like social security numbers, names, in terms of the IRS. They're looking at IRS tax returns. Do you people honestly believe that none of that information exists outside of the government? Kind of a rhetorical question. Because of the plain and simple fact is, somebody leaked Donald Trump's tax returns out of the IRS. Now, if you don't think that this information isn't making it out into the general public and like the dark web, yeah, honestly, you guys are barking up the wrong tree here, folks. You want to sit here and say things like, the privacy is no longer available anymore, folks. I mean, we use our social security number, which was originally designed just for social security, as an ID number across everywhere. It's on every single form that we have. You have to supply your social security number. So don't sit here and tell us that this is a privacy aspect. It's not. Anyway. Well, my last little note here as we round out the hour, my last little note here is, of course, I have never once seen a Democrat that does not like a tax. So, yeah. Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, she had this consumption tax, I think is what she, or what did they call it? What does she call it? It's a toll that charges on top of the already taxpayer paid for roads. All right. That basically she's charging, or she wants to charge, this is what's called the Central Business District Tolling Program. So it's for drivers that are entering Manhattan below 60th Street. If you're in New York, you'd kind of know where that is. But anyway, the toll charges passenger vehicles $9, small trucks $14.40, large trucks $21.60, so on and so forth. It's a congestion tax is what it is. It's a congestion pricing zone. Well, this is a tax on top of taxes that are already paying for the roads. So, yeah. Now, originally, this had to have the blessing, apparently, of the federal government for some reason. And honestly, I don't know why. I'm not quite sure why. In the article itself that I'm looking at doesn't really state. But the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, sent Hochul a letter announcing that the Federal Highway Administration had terminated approval for the consumption tax, or the congestion tax. And so basically what's happening here is, and by the way, that had just received federal approval in November under the Biden administration. But Trump has basically said that congestion pricing is not a good situation. They're treating the people of New York very badly. Then he said traffic will go down because people aren't going to come. If people don't come, that means the whole place it's going to be a disaster. That means they're not going to spend their money in New York. So, yeah. Anyway, Duffy described the toll as backwards and unfair and a slap in the face to working class Americans and small business owners in New York and surrounding states like New Jersey and Connecticut. Commuters using the highway system to enter New York City have already financed the construction and improvement of these highways through the payment of gas taxes and other taxes. But now The toll program leaves drivers without any free highway alternative and instead takes more money from working people to pay for a transit system and not highways. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, the letter has apparently pissed off Hochul. She arranged a quick press conference at Grand Central Terminal where she rallied against it. And, yeah, she basically is doubling down on the whole thing. Like I said, Democrats have not found a tax that they did not like. Alrighty, folks, that is it for me for this evening. However, I do have one more thing to do before I take off. Glow, are you still there? I hope. Anyway, this is for Glow, whose birthday is tonight. Glow on Rumble. Here you go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Glow. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Happy birthday, Glow. You have a great rest of the weekend. We will see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Saturday, so that's an hour later, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on American Perspective. Also, too, don't forget to also don't forget to hit those thumbs up buttons across all of my outlets, whether it's X, Facebook, YouTube, and of course the aforementioned Rumble. Also, too, don't forget as well that if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure you search up the American Perspective channel, hit that green follow button, and get notified that every time I go live. We will see you tomorrow night. Like I said, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.